A Game of Thrones is the first book in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. Set in the fictional continents of Westeros and Essos, it is a tale of political intrigue, noble families vying for power, and the looming supernatural threat from the mysterious North. The book begins with the backdrop of Westeros, a continent divided into several kingdoms, but ruled by a single king who sits on the Iron Throne, a symbol of ultimate power. The king, Robert Baratheon, won the throne in a rebellion against the Targaryen dynasty, a family that had ruled for nearly 300 years with their fearsome dragons. However, Robert's reign is far from peaceful. His rule is marred by political instability, discontent among the noble houses, and his own personal issues. The central conflict revolves around who controls the Iron Throne, but the novel simultaneously introduces the growing threat beyond the Wall in the north, the legacy of the deposed Targaryens, and ancient, almost forgotten dangers. The Starks of Winterfell are a prominent noble family, known for their honor and loyalty. Eddard Stark, Ned, is the Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North. He lives a relatively peaceful life with his wife Catelyn and their children, Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran, and Rickon, as well as his illegitimate son Jon Snow. When the book begins, Ned's life is disrupted by a royal visit. His old friend, King Robert Baratheon, comes to Winterfell with his court, including Queen Cersei Lannister and her brothers Jaime and Tyrion Lannister. Robert wants Ned to serve as his Hand of the King, a role akin to a chief advisor, following the mysterious death of the previous Hand, Jon Arryn. Though reluctant, Ned accepts the position and travels to King's Landing, the capital of the realm. Upon arriving in King's Landing, Ned finds himself plunged into the political quagmire of the royal court. The Lannisters, particularly Queen Cersei and her brother Jaime, seem to hold a dangerous amount of power. Ned begins to investigate Jon Arryn's death and uncovers a dangerous secret. The Queen's children, including Robert's heir Joffrey, are not the king's offspring, but the result of an incestuous relationship between Cersei and Jaime. Ned's quest for the truth leads to tensions with the Lannisters. He contemplates revealing the truth to Robert. But before he can act, the king dies in a suspicious hunting accident. Cersei seizes control, and Ned's attempt to claim the throne for Robert's true heir, Stannis Baratheon, fails. Betrayed by those he trusted and cornered by the Lannisters, Ned is imprisoned and later publicly executed on the orders of Joffrey, who declares himself king. The Lannisters, one of the wealthiest families in Westeros, are central to the political intrigue. Tywin Lannister, the head of the family, is calculating and ruthless, and his children, Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion, play pivotal roles in the unfolding drama. Cersei's ambition and the secret of her children's true parentage drive much of the tension in King's Landing. Jaime, a skilled swordsman, is infamous for killing the previous king, Daenerys Targaryen, an act that earned him the derisive nickname Kingslayer. Tyrion, the witty and sharp-tongued dwarf, is initially seen as an outcast, but later proves to be one of the book's most complex and insightful characters. While Ned Stark fights for honor and truth, the Lannisters fight for power at any cost, making them formidable opponents. Across the narrow sea in the eastern continent of Essos, Daenerys Targaryen, the last surviving heir of the overthrown Targaryen dynasty, begins her journey toward reclaiming the Iron Throne. She has lived in exile with her abusive older brother Viserys, who is obsessed with retaking Westeros. Viserys arranges for Daenerys to marry Khal Drogo, the leader of a nomadic warrior tribe known as the Dothraki, in exchange for Drogo's army. Initially fearful and submissive, Daenerys grows into her role as a Khaleesi, gaining confidence and power. She learns to command respect and love from her new people, while Viserys grows increasingly erratic and dangerous. Viserys, in his impatience, eventually threatens Drogo, demanding his crown. In response, Drogo kills him in a brutal fashion, leaving Daenerys the last Targaryen. After Drogo is wounded in a battle and becomes incapacitated, Daenerys seeks out magic to save him, but the attempt fails, and Drogo is left in a catatonic state. In the final chapters of the book, Daenerys burns Drogo's body on a funeral pyre, along with 3 ancient dragon eggs gifted to her at her wedding. She steps into the flames herself, and when the fire dies down, she emerges unscathed with 3 newly hatched dragons. This moment is a powerful declaration of her destiny as the Mother of Dragons, signaling the return of magic to the world and marking her as a future contender for the throne of Westeros. Jon Snow, Ned Stark's illegitimate son, grapples with his identity and place in the world. Feeling out of place at Winterfell, he joins the Night's Watch, a sworn brotherhood tasked with guarding the Wall, a massive fortification in the far north. The Wall separates the 7 kingdoms from the wildlands beyond, home to the free folk or wildlings and darker, mysterious threats. At the Wall, Jon faces the harsh realities of life among the Night's Watch, a group made up of criminals, exiles, and outcasts. He befriends Samwell Tarly, a cowardly but intelligent young man, and rises quickly through the ranks. However, Jon begins to realize that the real danger isn't the wildlings, but the supernatural forces beyond the Wall. The White Walkers, ancient beings with the power to raise the dead. The Night's Watch is woefully unprepared for the coming winter and the threats it will bring, setting the stage for a larger conflict that will span future books. A Game of Thrones is a richly layered tale of politics, betrayal, family loyalty, and the ever-present tension between honor and ambition. Martin's world is one where moral lines blur and characters are forced to make difficult, often tragic decisions. As the first book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series, it sets the stage for an epic conflict, not only between noble houses but also between the living and the dead, as the long winter approaches.